Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Bitcoin's technical analysis, taking a look at what has been going on most recently with the price action and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. We do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, tapping the bell, selecting all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, guys. Linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out? And you know, if you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, why not check out the Patreon services or even the YouTube memberships via the join button down below. Okay, guys, let's jump right down into this one. We're going to start things off with some Elliott wave theory just over here, and we're going to follow on from our kind of Elliott wave theory point of view here. You can kind of see we have the smart money concepts over this side, which is also something that we should be kind of thinking and considering and talking about, as well as what is going on with the Elliott wave theory. We're going to start on this side, and then we'll progress over into the smart money concepts. So I'm just going to kind of review this triangle that we were talking about before. It looked like it was kind of following something quite similar to kind of what we were expecting. We're kind of looking for 5 waves to the downside. Now, this could have started already. We do kind of have the A, B, C, D, and E structure for the wave 4. Okay, that took us right up into our expectations between 22,572 and 22,579. It is also possible that maybe this is 4th wave is going to be dragged out a lot longer than I was expecting, and maybe we haven't finished the E yet. However, I think we have, at least for now. I'm going to leave it like this, and then we're going to address whether or not we've started our 5-wave move to the downside, which is a possibility. So as we kind of focus in here, we have this kind of straight line drop coming down here with this kind of larger wick. Now, if we take this down into a 15-minute time frame right in here, you can kind of see that we kind of drop, push up, then come down, right? We still can't really get a good bead on this wick right at the bottom. So we bring this down into a 5-minute time frame, and here you can get a little bit more clarity over exactly what was going on. We had a 1 drop here, we went up, then we got 1, 2, kind of 3, 4, and 5 coming down here. So it looks to me like we kind of have a 5-wave structure right within this little area, but we have to kind of really come down into these smaller time frames to be able to really see it. You can kind of see it here on the 3-minute chart a little bit clearer. So it's one of those. It's quite a difficult kind of one to read, and you have to kind of really come down into these smaller time frames to see exactly what is going on with all those little candles. But if I bring this back up into the hourly view and come back over here, where in our little triangle, that makes this look like a wave 1. Okay, so if this is the case, then all of this is corrective to the upside, and then we're looking at starting this move to the downside. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this structure right in here. Okay, we had this initial pullback, and we pushed up into what I believe to be a wave 2. Again, I'm going to come down into the 15 minutes, and we're going to address this. Here we can see this really choppy structured move to the downside with a double bottom, and then a move up and then down, then up, then down again. Okay, so it looks like we have the 5-wave structure with a diagonal at the very beginning here with a truncated wave 5 within there. Okay, so taking a look at that, we might even think it was a contracting, yeah, I'd say probably contracting triangle to that degree on the diagonal. And then we come over here and we can kind of see no overlap with wave 1 and wave 4, and then come down into that 5th wave. We just want to check to see whether we met our expectations, and we did. So all of that looks to me like we are in a wave 1 situation. Let's come back up into our hourly. There's a lot of jumping around on this one because the sideways action here makes it very, very difficult to kind of get a good read from an Elliott wave theory point of view. This essentially means that we may have started our next move over this side. We kind of move up in 3 waves, and we're looking for that next one to the downside. And our expectations on this move to the downside would be down here at 22,105. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dash line right on there, then remove the fibs. Okay, this will basically tell us that we should be looking at something like this. 1, 2, down here for 3, then up for 4, and then down into 5. I will go ahead and actually change these back to white, and I will make the degree the immediate. Okay, so we can kind of see we have this. Now this is the structure here, this 5-wave structure, would basically be a move from this low on this side up to the high on the E, over to here, we would then have to see this fifth wave would have to come down to $21,845 in order to kind of trigger us into our fifth wave movement to the downside. So I'll go ahead and pop that one in there and then remove this. So we might end up with wave 3 coming down deeper here, then wave 4, then wave 5, just hitting that level. Okay, this will then allow us to look at this entire structure as a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, go up into wave 4, then down into wave 5, all of which will then come down into our fifth wave expectations between $21,555 and $21,808. So we can kind of see in there that our final fifth wave movement contains 5 waves, which contains a 53535 potentially. Okay, now it's a very early in this stage, so it's obviously jumping down into those smaller time frames to really understand exactly what is going on here. Do we have momentum to take us down into that wave 3? I would say we do, but it could also just be something that's really slow and kind of drags out a lot, but we'll see how it kind of plays out. The other kind of option I have here for this wave 4 is that we're still in our triangle and we are yet to kind of finish it. We can see here that if we were to draw a trend line and be a moon boy, we would be able to kind of draw a trend line here and say, look, we're going to higher highs, we're going to the moon, right? Essentially, though, higher lows here will have a tendency to have a breakdown anyway. So even if we do want to kind of look at this in the most kind of bullish way possible, I just don't think it's something that is likely to play out. That being said, keep an eye on it regardless. Invalidation of those lows will be coming in right up here at $23,195. But essentially, everything looks like it has to kind of move down. We have to kind of see this one complete off at the lower end of the spectrum here. So for the most part, my expectations are that we'll move down into this low range, 21,555 to 21,808, before we start to get a bigger move to the upside. If I zoom out of this for a second, we'll be able to see that we'll be looking for a bigger move up, more towards the ranges of around $23,500, maybe even pushing back up into the slightly higher range at around $24,000. All of this is still incredibly bearish, mind, but it is a way to kind of just take a look at the market as it's moving. So that's kind of Elliott wave theory. It's kind of telling us that we have maybe potentially started our final fifth wave move into these final lows before we get that bounce upwards. Now, if we take a look at it from a smart money concepts point of view, as I said yesterday, we are ranging. We're basically ranging from the low side at 21,971 and the high side at 22,662. We're going sideways. We can see that we're consolidating on equilibrium. We kind of pushed our way through it yesterday, trying to find it as a support level. It's one of those, possibly not. Now, when we take a look at this sideways trade, the most concerning would be that we'd have something like this, which is just a 3-wave structure. Okay, we then have another 3-wave structure right in here that's yet to play out, and we come back down. And then, of course, we'd start to maybe articulate this as a head and shoulder pattern, and that could take us to a downside. Now, if we were to look at this as a prolonged triangle, then actually what you've got going on here would then be an A, a B. We've got to go up into C, down into D, then up into E, and then we could a breakdown. And I say this is the one that prolongs that fourth wave for a long period of time. So if I were to kind of just look at it from 3-wave structure points and ignore all the noise in the middle, then that's kind of how it might potentially play out. Now we do have a weak low, strong high. So again, I'm not expecting us to break to the upside, but knowing the range helps us understand where we sit within it and whether we break to the upside or break to the downside from it. But essentially here we can see that we have nothing to note in the inside of this ranging market. We've kind of covered off most things. We have had a change of characteristic and a bullish break of structure, at least on these micro levels, and we're really waiting to see whether or not that actually means something. I don't think it does, based on Elliott wave theory. It looks like we kind of have a very difficult ranging market. Normally ranging markets are something to avoid, so we don't want to trade them, but in Elliott wave theory we can actually see that there's a potential move to the downside, and yeah, so we could potentially trade it off the Elliott wave theory side of things from a swing trade point of view. Now as I zoom out just a fraction here, we can of course see that we're still in that negative state of mind. We have the change of characteristic to the downside. We have a break of structure or a CTS to the downside, essentially confirming that we are moving negatively towards lower lows at this point. I say lower lows than the local one that we've just had. And of course, we do have a gap that was left behind at $24,000. I imagine that will get filled at some point in the future. As I kind of scale this out into the 4-hour chart, we'll let that one load up there. We can see that we do have a gap right in that $24,000 range, and this could be something something that we see under a kind of three-wave structure. Just kind of take that out before we go back down. We can also see that there's a lot of internal order blocks right up here. These red ones are selling order blocks, and down here we have our purchasing order blocks. Now the purchasing order blocks are between 20,500 and 21,000, so that will help us understand where that sits. There are also these fair value gaps down here at the bottom. Again, these are the expectations that we will move to the downside. On this 4-hour chart, we have yet to break the bullish structure to move to the upside. So we have it on the hourly, but we don't have it on the 4-hourly yet. Basically, change of characteristic, move to the upside. Confirmation of a bullish move to the upside was found up here. So we yet to see that bearish break, but at the same time we should acknowledge that we normally do typically, after having a break of structure, retrace down a little bit before we continue that move to the upside. So case for the bulls on the 4-hour chart there. We do have to move down though, so expectations are that we actually do get a change of characteristics soon, and we do break that structure down to those lows that we're talking about. So I do think we have Elliott wave theory lining up quite nicely, and I think smart money concepts here is reasonably aligned to that. On the 8-hour chart, if we load that up, we can see that we have equilibrium right down in these lows as well. So again, expectations are that we're going to go down there, retest equilibrium on the 8-hour, completely fill out this previous area of imbalance on the order blocks. We have progression up or down on this 8-hour chart. So for the most part, it's all looking pretty good. I won't go into the higher time frames. Essentially, we're kind of then just distracting from what is the current moves going on here with BTC, but my expectations are that we're going to be hopefully pulling back down into that final 5th wave movement, as I drew out at the beginning of this video. I do expect it to be choppy because we've got a lot of nested structures going on in there, and yeah, nothing moves in straight lines, so do experience a little bit of volatility, I think, when it comes to BTC, both to the upside and to the downside, but gradually we'll be working our way down overall. As I finish this video, if you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not consider subscribing, tapping the bell, selecting all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. If you're looking for a little bit more, why not check out the Patreon services or the YouTube memberships via the join button down below. Until the next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.